Why that was not a reason to ask for such punishment. Only for self-defense the prophets of God would ask for this punishment which came from heaven. 2 Kings chapter 1. Then verse 9 through 15. Then the king set a captain of 50 with his 50 to him. He went up to him, and behold, he was sitting on the top of the hill. He said to him, Man of God, the king has said, Come down. Elijah answered to the captain of 50, If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from the sky and consume you and your 50. Then the fire came down from the sky and consumed him and his 50. Again he sent to him another captain of 50 with his 50. He answered him, Man of God, the king has said, Come down quickly. Elijah answered them, If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from the sky and consume you and your 50. Then God's fire came down from the sky and consumed him and his 50. Again he sent the captain of a third 50 with his 50. The third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Elijah and begged him and said to him, Man of God, please let my life and the life of these 50 of your servants be precious in your sight. Behold, fire came down from the sky and consumed the last two captains of 50 with their 50s. But now let my life be precious in your sight. The Lord's angel said to Elijah, Go down with him. Don't be afraid of him. Then he arose and went down with him to the king. From where comes the sacrality of burning meat with fire? As we can see here, God prefers that his sacrifices be burned with his fire that came from heaven. Leviticus 10 verses 1 to 3. Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it and laid the incense on it and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. Fire came out from before the Lord and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, This is what the Lord spoke of, saying, I will show myself holy to those who come near me, and before all the people I will be glorified. Aaron held his peace. 1 Kings chapter 18 verses 23 until 40. Let them therefore give us the bulls, and let them choose one bull for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bull, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under it. You call on the name of your God, and I will call on the Lord's name. The God who answers by fire, let him be God. All the people answered, What you say is good. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, Choose one bull for yourselves, and dress it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it. They took the bull which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice, and nobody answered. They leaped about the altar which was made. At noon Elijah mocked them, and said, Cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is deep in thought, or He has gone somewhere, or he is on a journey, or perhaps he sleeps and must be awakened." They cried aloud and cut themselves in their way with knives and lances until the blood gushed out on them. When midday was past, they prophesied until the time of the evening offering, but there was no voice, no answer, and nobody paid attention. Elijah said to all the people, "Come near me," and all the people come near to him. He repaired the Lord's altar that had been thrown down. Elijah took 12 stones according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the Lord's word came, saying, "Israel shall be your name." With the stones he built an altar in the Lord's name. He made a trench around the altar large enough to contain 2 seahs of seed. He put the wood in order and cut the bowl in pieces and laid it on the wood. He said, "Fill 4 jars with water and pour it on the burnt offering and on the wood." He said, "Do it a second time," and they did it the second time. He said, "Do it a third time," and they did it a third in it the third time. The water ran around the altar, and he also filled the trench with water. At the time of the evening offering, Elijah the prophet came near and said, "Lord, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word. Hear me, Lord, hear me, that these people may know that you, Lord, are God, and that you have turned their hearts back again." Then the Lord's fire fell and consumed the burnt offering, the wood, the stones, and the dust, and it licked up the water that was in the trench. When all the people saw it, they fell on their face. They said, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." Elijah said to them, "Seize the prophets of Baal, don't let one of them escape." They seized them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and killed them there. Conclusion. Firstly, God is angry with the sinful false prophets and with the priests. God swore on his life that he himself would search for his sheep and be their shepherd. He kept his promise and came as the good shepherd to lay down his life for the sheep, but he was not received. Secondly, he poured out his soul to death so that many may be justified by the knowledge of himself. He came to save men's lives, even for those who rejected him. He came to throw a holy fire on earth that sanctifies the flesh instead of burning it, a fire that brings division, a fire of loyalty towards him. Thirdly, the punishment to death by fire from heaven was used only by God Himself and through the prophet Elijah for self-defense. God has sent fire from heaven for both punishment and receiving sacrifice. The punishment was a form of human sacrifice conducted by God Himself that was never intended to become a practice for men. he finds his pleasure in animal burnt offerings.